Yo, real quick. I just wanted to say I stream on Twitch. If you want to follow me on Twitch, I'll leave a link in the description box below. Thank you.
Hello, motherfucker.
Okay, I want to try something a little different for this channel. I want to start talking about more things that are within the YouTube basketball space since I love watching it so much. So I figured why not talk about it. So over the past 3 seasons, there's been this whole thing on the horizon called the Creator League, hosted by House of Highlights. I'm sure that if you're watching this video that you've seen it. I've been meaning to do reaction videos and just overall discussions about it, but I just never had the courage to do it. But I want to do it now and just see how it goes, see how the reception is, and maybe I'll continue to talk about it. Okay, so this past matchup, it was Carson and T-Jazz versus Julian Newman and Stephania. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I looked at this team before the league season started, and I'm gonna keep it 100. I thought this was gonna be the worst team out of everybody. I thought this was the worst team out of everybody. Now, although they lost the game, they played really well. And I want to highlight some things later on in the video that I want to talk about. But let's just go through a whole rundown of the game first. So, T-Jazz and Carson get off to a little quick hot start and whatnot. Julian's team battles back a little bit. Then they go have a little back and forth. And I feel like Julian in this environment, he has something to prove and is showing everyone that he's not no slouch. And I've gotten those vibes even from like last year when he was playing ones with Trevor Dunbar and Hezi God. He was holding his own. He even beat Trevor Dunbar in a one-on-one game. So he came out guns blazing. So T-Jazz and Carson take the first game. However, Julian Newman got in his bag, literally got in his fucking bag and ran off 15 straight. So everything was going good for Julian and Steph's team. And then, unfortunately, Stephania gets hurt. Now, I do believe that was literally the game changer. Because once Stephania gets hurt, they do end up playing one-on-one between T-Jazz and Julian Newman. Julian Newman runs off 5 straight. It's 2-11, 2s and 3s. And then T-Jazz gets the ball back. T-Jazz then runs off 11. The game's over. Carson and T-Jazz win. Now, here are some things that I want to highlight from this game that I felt like were the keys to success for Julian's team. I do feel like the one thing, which was actually the most important thing for them, was Julian's ability to run off different screens. So if you look at some of the footage, Stephania checks the ball up top, Julian comes off, and then Stephania hands the ball off to him. And then at that point, Julian, he has the range where he can shoot it from deep. But where I feel like he excels the most is where he attacks the basket. Julian Newman, out of everyone on the floor, is the fastest on the floor. So he used that to his advantage, and then it just became a foot race from there. I want to applaud Stephania. Although she got hurt, she was playing really well. She knocked down a 3. She played solid defense, and she was setting really good screens. Now, if you want to argue that they were moving screens or not, that's none of my business. Y'all can do what y'all want with that information. But I do feel like the screen at the top of the key where Julian comes off the handoff and just immediately screens T-Jazz, and then Julian just goes right to the basket, was their bread and butter. And I do feel like teams gotta watch out for that. So when it became a one-on-one matchup, T-Jazz did exactly what I feel like anybody in T-Jazz's position would have done. Exploit the size matchup, take it down to the paint every time, and get a easy layup. T-Jazz is an elite finisher, and I do believe that using his size to his advantage isn't a bad thing. I saw some people saying that he was paint spamming. I feel like anybody in his position would have done that. Julian is small as hell. There's not much you can really do as a defender if you're in Julian's position, except foul, really. But, you know, I applaud Julian because he did try his best out there, and he did put a lot of people on notice with this performance. Julian did finish with 42 points, which is, I feel like, is absolutely absurd. 42 points on losing, damn. That's tough, man. That's actually super tough. In terms of things that they could have done better, I don't really think there's much that Julian and Steph could have did before Steph had gotten hurt, because in my personal opinion, after watching the game, if Stephania didn't get hurt, I truly believe that Steph and Julian would have won the game. They had all the momentum. The handoff at the top of the key was working all day. Julian's jump shot was falling. There really wasn't much y'all could have done. Y'all just were unfortunate enough to have one of your teammates go down, and Julian being 5'5", It's really what it came down to. Another thing I do want to highlight from this game is when Julian did come off those screens, it was kind of open season for Julian. So in the future, if they do match up again, like maybe in like a playoff setting or something, Carson got to step up on defense. I know that it is a 2-on-2, so it's kind of like an extended 1-on-1 in a way. That's how I've always viewed 2-on-2s. But when your teammate is getting trapped on a screen, you got to at least step up, so at least Julian doesn't have all the room in the world to sprint down like Usain Bolt into the lane. There were a couple of situations where Stephania set the screen at the top of the key, and then Julian would come down, and since T-Jazz is caught on the screen, it's Carson's job to then, you know, slide through and at least, like, if you can't contain him, at least make it a little bit more difficult for him to get to the basket. But then he had like that wide open lane. I think the reasoning for that was maybe because Stephania could shoot a little bit, and maybe that would have been like an easy kick out and harder to close out on the defender. But me personally, I would take the 3 more than the easy 2. You kind of just have to pick your poison at that point. So yeah, I do believe that in the future, T-Jazz and Carson do got to talk a little bit more on defense, work on that screen situation, and I think they should be good. Honestly, that first game was really telling because Carson can really shoot the basketball and T-Jazz was doing T-Jazz things. They're a really good team offensively, but I just feel like defensively, that's when it's gonna bite them a little bit if they don't work those kinks out. And I do want to apologize to Julian and Stephania, because in my mind, I thought this was gonna be a wash. 2-0, 21 to like 5 both games. I thought it was gonna be a wash, but they proved themselves. They worked hard, and if it wasn't for that injury, maybe we'd be telling a different tale. So yeah, those are my thoughts about the game. Now let's talk about the next game, which is T-Jazz and Carson versus Friga and Lolo. My predictions for the game, I'm going with Friga and Lolo. I just feel like Friga, just by himself, I don't want to dick ride or nothing. It's gonna sound like I'm dick riding.
Man, I want to go over there, but I don't want to dick ride. You know, would that be dick riding? You think?
I do feel like Friga himself is gonna be a problem, especially if they can't work out those 2 issues defensively. Friga can really shoot the ball. He's a lot bigger than T-Jazz. I do feel like him attacking the basket is going to be his target for this next game. However, I am really excited to see T-Jazz versus Friga, because I feel like, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, they've never been in the same vicinity before. So this is going to be really interesting, and I'm kind of excited for that one. In terms of Carson and Lolo, that is also going to be a very interesting matchup. I feel like if Carson uses her height and her length, maybe like in like a post situation, and just like takes Lolo down to the basket, I do believe that that's going to give Lolo and Friga a lot of difficulty. And also Carson can stretch the floor out a little bit because she can shoot the ball. Yo, if y'all never seen Carson shoot, her jumper is pretty. Her jumper is pretty, but that's neither here nor there. That has nothing to do with this video. But yeah, she can stretch the floor out really well. She can shoot it. I feel like where her advantage will be at is using that height and length to the basket. But yeah, those are my predictions. I'm gonna say Friga and Lolo, maybe in 3 games, possibly 3 games. If T-Jazz and Carson can make adjustments, I'm gonna say 3 games. Friga and Lolo in 3 games. But hey, those are just my thoughts. My opinion don't really matter, but I'm putting it out on the internet. That's my motto for the rest of my life at this point. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about me talking about the Creator League, and let me know if you want to see some basketball videos from me in the future. Possibly. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I will catch y'all after the Friga and Lolo game, and I'm out. Peace and love.
She said, tell me how you feeling. I feel like a fake nigga who niggas perceive as the realest. I don't wanna hate niggas repressing that I hate the feeling. They get his away and sign him like, oh, you don't know who you dealing with. My jealousy ate away, ambition till it let me feel. I wanted to stay away, it can't disappear. I used to embrace the phrase, I don't see no ceilings here.